it's just double vision constantly, and it's a little bit grey as well. So I've got like a grey eyesight from there onwards and double vision.
Tom Aspinall is not cleared to fight still. He is not cleared to train still, which is something, yes, that a commission can enforce. Comes with your privileged license.
Tests have shown that there is a reduction in the ability for the muscles of your eyes to move up. So essentially your eyeball has muscles on the outside and it works like a pulley system. So when one muscle relaxes and one muscle pulls, your eyes move across to your left and then right. If there's damage to these eye muscles, even one small muscle, which are very small, then you can get one eye moving up and the other eye doesn't follow. And if they're not tracking absolutely perfectly, then you get one image coming from one eye and one image coming from a slightly different perspective. And that's what you're getting. You're getting one image here and one image.
Tom Aspinall's latest injury update has lit a firestorm across the MMA world, with analysts breaking down every word, every detail, every hint of what comes next. And here's the heart of it. Even though he says he's feeling much better after that brutal eye poke, he's still battling something far more alarming: persistent double vision. For a fighter, that's not just a setback, it's a nightmare. Seeing two targets in a sport built on split-second reactions is the kind of danger that can end careers. So Tom went to an optometrist, hoping for clarity, and finally got the full picture. The specialist laid everything out, explaining that double vision after an eye poke is actually common, caused by the trauma those tiny, delicate eye muscles suffer in the moment of impact.
Train properly, spar.
It's a long road ahead, but the prognosis is guarded at the moment. I would recommend that you wouldn't fight until your double vision's resolved for two reasons. One, it could potentially make things worse and set you back even further, or that you're training because you're still having double vision looking into the periphery, you wouldn't be at your peak. So that's the main reason. I'm sorry that this has happened, and it's not nice. It's not nice to be in this position with lots of probably pressure coming from inside you, because I know you want.
The specialist didn't sugarcoat a thing. He walked Tom through every detail, every risk, every hard truth. His message was blunt and absolute. Tom cannot even consider stepping back into the octagon until the double vision is completely gone. No exceptions. No shortcuts. Fighting with compromised sight isn't just dangerous, it's career-ending. The doctor urged him to put long-term health first, reminding him that one rushed decision could cost him everything. But he didn't leave Tom in despair. He made sure to offer a little light with the warning, reassuring him that recovery is still fully possible and that patience now could protect everything he's built.
Hey, Tom. I like Tom a lot. I like Tom's father. This is on a human level. I don't know Ciryl. He could be a perfectly nice guy. I know that Ciryl as our champion, as a company, is a problem. And anything that could force us to see Jon Jones versus Ciryl again is a really big problem. At any rate, to just speak about this event, I remember right when it was done. I remember telling you guys, I'm mad. I feel shorted as a fan. I know what I went through to be.
The moment Tom's injury update hit the public, Chael Sonnen practically sprinted to soften the blow of the harsh comments he and Anthony Smith made in the heat of the moment. He insisted none of it was personal, stressing that he actually respects Tom and his father, even knows them well, and that his criticism came from analysis, not animosity. But then you look at Ciryl Gane's reaction, and the contrast is sharp. Gane basically said that if Tom took their words personally, then maybe he could apologize. An apology wrapped in conditions, loopholes, and a tone that felt far less genuine. It came off more like damage control than true remorse, adding another layer of tension to an already messy situation.
Sounds like Tom was very legitimately hurt, without question. Some of you real tucker, you decide that even when legitimately hurt that you would have finished a fight. You go ahead, you do your thing. Do your thing. Sure you would. But if he was hurt, why wasn't it a disqualification? Why would we decide it's an accident? Why would we decide that it's unintentional? Why do we always decide it's an accident? Why do we always decide it's unintentional?
Looking back at that infamous eye poke sequence, Chael doubled down harder than ever. And he didn't sugarcoat a thing. He said these eye pokes almost never feel accidental to him. When they happen, he believes the offending fighter usually knows exactly what they're doing. And with Tom, Chael made it clear this wasn't a one-off slip. Tom didn't get poked once. He got poked 3 separate times. To Chael, that pattern alone raises real questions about the opponent's intentions, pushing the whole situation from unfortunate accident into something far more suspicious.
Obviously, Tom's the one living through this. Tom's the one that's getting absolutely slaughtered online. And Tom's the one 6 weeks later still having to go to the doctor and still can't train and do any kind of combat. So he's the man that's living with this, okay? So you understand, you kind of will get emotional. You will be, and you will think that Ciryl Gane was doing that on purpose. I still don't, okay? I don't think Ciryl Gane did that on purpose. What you want to do is crack someone in the face, and when the hands are out, when you go to grab, if someone comes in to take you down or whatever, sometimes that happens. That's why this whole rule of the fingers being up, not allowed there.
And it's not like Tom ate just one poke and overreacted, jumping in to defend him and to push back against Tom's critics like Ciryl Gane. Michael Bisping stepped straight into the debate. He reminded everyone that Tom is living through an incredibly tough, painfully frustrating stretch. In Bisping's eyes, Tom's sharp comments weren't unprovoked. They were the emotional spillover of a fighter who had poured everything into this matchup, only for the entire night to be stolen from him by an eye poke. Months of brutal training, strategy, sacrifice, all wiped out in seconds. So to Bisping, a little trash talk in that moment isn't just understandable, it's human. A fighter reacting from heartbreak, not malice.
They're done, and it's easy to get a thicker skin like I have over the years when you've been in the spotlight for 20 years. Tom's still relatively new to this, and 1 minute is the belle of the ball, the next minute everyone online is talking. Okay, and that's a hard thing to deal with. You got to remember, yeah, he's a big gigantic dude and he's the heavyweight champion of the world, but deep down inside he's still only a human being, and it seems that the entire fan base has turned their back on him and they're talking crap. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't feel good. Like there's one right here. Tom is the most overrated fighter in UFC history. It's just absolute.
And when it comes to that ridiculous trend of digging through fan comments just to roast Tom, one commentator finally snapped and went straight at those trolls. He called them out for exactly what they are. Haters piling on a guy who's already dealing with enough, deliberately trying to make a brutal moment in his career even heavier. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. He basically told them to shut up and sit down, reminding everyone that he's lived through that same dark stretch himself. And because of that, he genuinely understands the pressure, the frustration, the emotional crash Tom is facing right now. And more importantly, he aimed that same energy back toward Tom, urging him to tune out every one of those worthless comments and stay locked in on his recovery instead of the noise.
I don't think it's that serious, although the fact that 6 weeks later he's still not cleared for competition, that is alarming. First thing he's got to do is listen to the doctors. Do not rush anything. The man's still young. He's in his prime. He's not on borrowed time. He's still got years ahead of him. Listen to the doctors. Come back, whoop some ass, take the gloves off. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Tell everyone to go themselves, knock some people out, and this whole escapade will be behind him. Doing interviews and showing the receipts and showing the doctor's appointments and all the rest of it, I don't think that's the way forward. I really don't.
Wrapping up the entire conversation, Bisping stepped in with the kind of veteran wisdom only someone who's lived this sport can give. He warned Tom not to even think about rushing back into the cage or forcing some premature comeback just to silence critics. At this fragile, pivotal stage in his recovery, Bisping insisted the only voices Tom should be listening to are his doctors, and he needs to follow their guidance with absolute discipline. He reminded everyone that Tom's best years are still ahead of him, that he's nowhere near the ceiling of his career, and that once this injury clears, he'll be back to form and back to living the life he's fought so hard to build. But to reach that point, Bisping stressed, Tom has to stay patient, stay steady, and push through this difficult chapter with the same determination he brings to every fight.
Confirmed clinical findings by eye doctors in hospitals Everybody's still out there maybe saying, this is fake, this is such... We ain't accepting apologies, dude. You're on that side, you're on that side. You want to be one of them, you're on one of them. Okay? I still see people on Twitter saying, this is ChatGPT. This ain't ChatGPT, dude. What do you think this is? He's cooking up a fake little thing to type down, fake doctor's notes to put up on his Instagram. This is the heavyweight champ we're talking about here, dude. This is...
While reacting to Tom Aspinall's video explaining everything that happened after the eye poke, the analyst known as the anime guru didn't hold back. He said that now that Tom has openly confirmed his injury was completely genuine, all those people who mocked him, dismissed him, or accused him of faking it should step up and apologize. No excuses. He stressed that anyone claiming Tom's medical reports are fabricated is clearly looking at MMA through a casual, uninformed lens. This isn't some backyard scuffle, he said. This is the heavyweight championship of the world, where careers, legacies, and livelihoods are on the line. And because of that, people need to watch their words when they talk about elite fighters, especially when those fighters are battling through real injuries with real consequences.
Aspinall was poked and Ciryl Gane put his fingers in Tom Aspinall's eyes and Tom Aspinall got Brown syndrome from it. I don't know if this is a symptom of Brown syndrome on Tom Aspinall. Maybe this is late stage and there's still a chance. But bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. He's got Brown syndrome. It could have been a different one that sounds similar. Different type of syndrome. We dodged that one for now. He always looked a bit like Shane Gillis. Bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon.
However, that's when the entire discussion veered into outright absurdity. As the guru continued dissecting Tom's confirmed medical report, he shifted into a mocking, theatrical tone that felt less like analysis and more like a parody. He loudly proclaimed, almost laughing, that Tom had been diagnosed with bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome, delivering it as if it were some imaginary, overdramatic condition. Then he took it even further, questioning the diagnosis altogether and hinting that the injury was somehow being tied to cognitive diseases. Despite Tom's symptoms being clearly and exclusively related to damaged eye muscles, the guru acted baffled, asking how an eye injury could possibly have anything to do with cognitive issues. The whole performance was engineered to make the diagnosis sound suspicious, exaggerated, and nearly unbelievable, casting doubt not on the medical report, but on Tom himself.
No surgery, please. That sounds dreadful. That sounds like a lot of time off. That sounds like permanently worrying about it moving forward. Maybe it could go wrong, the surgery, and if it goes wrong with the eyeball, it could really go wrong. Dude, is it the Bisping curse of UK UFC fighters? Arnold Allen's got to watch out. You know? Pimlet's fighting for a title against Gaethje. Pack your goggles. Okay? Big time. There might be a curse going round.
After the discussion turned to the possibility that Tom might need surgery, the guru jumped in with a strange mix of concern and mockery. He claimed it shouldn't get to that point, warning that a major eye operation could seriously limit Tom's chances of ever returning to the sport. But at the same time, he coined a ridiculous new nickname for the injury, calling it a Bispinkers, a clear nod to Michael Bisping, who also suffered a career-changing eye poke, and joked that it seems like all UK fighters are somehow destined to get poked in the eye. Essentially, the guru presented himself as worried about Tom's career while simultaneously making fun of him, sending completely mixed signals in one performance.
I think this is a big deal. Number one, if Tom can't move his eyes from left to right, up and down freely and see everything coming his way, he can't fight. Now, again, this is a bad thing if it's as bad as we're saying in the video here when it says traumatic Brown syndrome, indicating disruption of the superior oblique tendon trochlear mechanism. That's not the end of this. That's not the end of the road when it comes to how bad this could potentially be. But if you can't use your eyes without turning your head to see things, like if your eyes are stuck in a very limited space, think about like tendonitis of...
In a similar discussion, another analyst, Plemons, reviewed Tom's medical findings but took a far more serious approach. He warned that if the reports are accurate, Tom's career is entering an extremely risky stage. From Plemons' perspective, Tom shouldn't even think about stepping back into the cage for a while, because both of his eyes have been affected. For any fighter, the ability to clearly see and track every movement of an opponent is absolutely critical, and any compromise in vision could have serious consequences in the octagon.
That's GG's on your career, because one thing you need, as much as you need anything else in MMA to fight, is your eyes. You can't see punches coming. You can't see where your opponent is. You can't see out of the peripheral vision of your eye for strikes coming behind other strikes. This is a problem. And for the people that are going to say, oh, well, Mike Bisping fought with one eye, Tom should be able to do the same. Well, okay, yeah. First off, Mike Bisping shouldn't have been fighting with one eye. But secondly, this is bilateral traumatic Brown syndrome. So it's not just the bad right eye that Tom Aspinall was talking about. Apparently, he's got it in both eyes. Both eyes having a hard time moving around in his...
Addressing those online trolls who kept comparing Tom's eye poke to Bisping's, Plemons made one thing very clear. Bisping's injury was nowhere near as serious, which is why he could keep fighting with just one affected eye. Tom's situation is entirely different. Both of his eyes are injured, and he has very specific, serious vision issues. Plemons stressed that this is not the time to worry about online criticism. Instead, Tom needs to step away from combat sports for a significant period to allow proper healing and avoid risking long-term damage.